how we're also globally connecting each other and giving a, oh, you want a seat at this table, come join me. And you're saying, oh, you want to come here, you come join me. And how magical is that?
There is enough space for everyone to make a change. You're doing good in the world, there is space for you. If you're making a change, there is space for you.
We create all these different entry points now between all of us for artists to engage and to slip through the gates, through these big, past the gatekeepers.
We can call it whatever we want, but it's a marriage, because being in a business with someone, sometimes it's even more crucial than your actual personal partner in real life, because it has such a huge impact on what you do.
Everything good takes time. And what people then don't understand is behind the scenes. And I think it can easily, it can be very daunting.
Hey you, are you an emerging woman artist ready to take your work on a global stage? Want to get spotlight and resources to elevate your career to the next level? We've got just something for you. Introducing the Emerging Women Artist Award 2023 Fall Edition by Arts to Hearts Project. An extraordinary opportunity for women in the arts to showcase their brilliance and to be supported in their creative journey further. If you're creating painting, sculptures, mixed media, or new media, you're eligible to enter this award. If you have more questions about the eligibility for this award, make sure you send us an email at info@arts2heartsproject.com or simply DM submit on Arts to Hearts Project Instagram. So, prizes, oh my god, they're absolutely amazing. Let me get started. For a first prize winner, we have an absolutely amazing package that awaits you. From including a cash prize of $300 to a physical award that will be sent to you, to an exclusive series of mentorship calls with the industry experts like Asher Longshore, Liz Legit, and many more. That is what if we are just getting started with. Not only that, the winner will also get an exclusive interview on this very podcast with me on the Arts to Hearts podcast, and an opportunity to be published in the Studio Visit book, one of our favorite projects, and an exhibition opportunity of a virtual show with PXP Contemporary. The second and the third winners also will enjoy fantastic prizes, including exclusive interviews, mentorship opportunities, ATH directory listing, which all of in itself is over $2,000, $3,000. Plus, we are giving you so many more resources to get you started elevating your creative career so that you get the visibility you deserve. Don't miss this chance to have your art be recognized globally, to put yourself in a global art contemporary scene. The submissions close on 8th of November 2023, midnight EST. Apply now to the Emerging Artist Award 2023 Fall Edition, and we hope to see you thrive in your creative career like nobody else. Visit our website to learn more about the award and how you can be a part of this amazing opportunity. To also know more, you can simply DM submit to Arts to Hearts Project's Instagram, and we'll be there to host you. Welcome to the podcast. We finally made it. I am so glad. After a lot of coordination, this day has finally come. How does it feel to be on the Arts to Hearts podcast?
It feels fantastic. Thank you so, so much. And thank you for your patience. And thank you to Rabia and yourself. Honestly, it's been, just we are on three such different time zones that it's just been, but we are here. We're very grateful. Thank you for the invitation.
More than happy to have you. And I definitely say Rabia has a lot of patience and she really did a good job. Thank you so much. And I have been such a big fan of the work that you both do, like all of it. Repaint history. Now I've even forgotten, like there's so much to follow on. Repaint history. There's um Weekly Rise, then there is Art Girl Rising, and then there is What Women Artists Want, right?
Where are
Yes.
the women
Where
artists?
are the women artists? Yes,
Yes,
yes.
correct.
So, and we just started, I feel like, how Arts to Hearts happened for me and a lot of people um, comment a lot of times negatively on how my own mission with Arts to Hearts to unite women artists. It's a women focused community and a platform where people feel like that we're excluding men per se, because apart from that we really include most of like everything. But it also comes from a very personal experience of being a woman, being raised in India. And we spoke about how you both also come from a culture, you come from South Africa, you come from Iran. Do you think your growing up, all of these, like looking at your own cultures, has that also ingrained um, that mission of supporting women in general?
So for me, certainly, yes. I, since a very, very young age, well, not that young, in high school, I noticed that the boys were treated differently in my school. And it was a very basic thing, but they could wear trousers and put long johns under and be warm, and we had to wear skirts and freeze. And I concocted a little rebellious act of getting my friends together, and we all borrowed trousers, and we rocked up at school in trousers. And I think that was, it wasn't the first time I was aware of it, but it was the first time that I took action. And I certainly, from very early on, was super aware that it wasn't okay for a girl to behave in a certain way. And I'm not suggesting that we don't have those limitations on men. I am very well aware that the toxic masculinity plays out very much for men too. But I think both things can be true at the same time. So for me, it's always been I'm feverishly passionate about this. I believe that's why I'm on this planet, to help do this work. Also, growing up in South Africa, to see all the inequalities that was happening here. Um, that I think I was always going to do this work to try and, you know, help that feeling of guilt, certainly guilt that I grew up under the apartheid regime, not under it, because I was on the other side. But equality has played an enormous role in my life for as long as I can remember, and I must say I don't struggle at all with people or anybody saying to me, "Oh, but it's only for women." Like I don't even. It just doesn't resonate with me at all, because as long as women are not equal, we have no reason to apologize for the work that we do. And as long as the numbers are as shocking as it is, I will keep doing this work as feverishly and as loud as possible.
So how did you both meet?
We both met. It is a fantastic, wonderful story.
Oh my
We
god, I'm listening.
well, I guess energetically, feeling wise, it's magical. The mechanics of it is quite plain, but we started uh, exchanging messages during COVID. As everybody did, we were in lockdown, and we were on Instagram. We knew of each other's work during COVID, before COVID, and then during COVID, I'm sure you can relate. Everybody just started, the online community became so important, and we
Yeah,
started
it's been a
talking, and
savior.
yeah, it has been the savior, and we there was a group of us. I saw you interviewed the wonderful Kaylin Butine. She's a very dear friend. She also came into my life during the same time. And then Jamie from Thrive and Lauren from Black Women in Visual Arts. It was just a
Yes, we have a lot of same circle in all of these, and we've always. I think we have been the COVID group. I think Kat, you, Erica, Kaylin.
correct. And so, the group started sort of forming, and we started talking more and more. And then I started, formed Fair Art, the pledge project for museums to take. It's in keeping with the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. And Pegah was one of the people I also reached out to later on, not at the initial phases, but later on. And we started speaking. And then, Yeah, we just started realizing, Peg and I finally hopped on a video call and we met, and it was just chemistry. We were just like, it was amazing. And then we discovered she started her t-shirts, her glorious woman art.
Yeah, and they become really popular.
Yes, the exact same month that I started the Article Rising t-shirts, the same month in the same year. And I was in Malaysia, she was in Toronto, and we had a similar idea. And we just said to each other, why would we do the same thing independently? We're both social enterprises. Let's come together. Let's do this glorious work together. And then it was for more than a year and a half that we worked together just remotely. We had a set call every Tuesday. It was like 9 a.m. Her morning. It was 9 p.m. her evening. And we would have a call every Tuesday, and we just would
Because you were
support
in
each.
Malaysia.
Yeah, I know. I was at this point. In the meantime, I moved to China and she was still in Toronto, but it was a 13-hour time difference. But we kept it every week. And Pegah just had her baby. It was like
Oh my
so.
God, I didn't know that.
Dates. Yes, this was like
Pekka,
three
I thought you
years
were still
ago.
16.
Oh yeah, thank you, thank you.
Seriously.
I wish, I wish,
Seriously.
I wish I was still 16.
And so then every Tuesday, me and Pegah just had these dates. Like we would meet and we would just talk. It was just so weird. She would tell me about her work with Repaint history. I'll tell her about our work through Article Rising. And it just got better and better and better and better. And then last year I was in the US and we had a meeting with the Philadelphia Museum of Art. And Pegah flew from Toronto, and we met in Philadelphia, and it was just so magical to like hold
Do
each
it in
other
real
and
life hug. Oh my God.
exactly. And it was only, I think we only had like 18 hours together because her
Oh
baby was
wow.
still young, and we did not stop talking. And on that trip, we just said, why don't we merge? Like, it's ridiculous. Why are we doing two social enterprises the same thing? We are not in it for profit. We're in it for changing and deconstructing and reconstructing. So let's work together. And so we in a cab on the way to the National Gallery of to the Philadelphia Museum of Art, in the taxi, we decided we will now
You'll
become one
merge.
organization. And that's
Wow.
the story.
And the rest is history.
How do you think has that now coming together? How has that changed things for you or made it better? I'm sure. Two forces coming together. How has that changed things for the whole mission that you both are on?
I think what's really beautiful about this partnership is how our skill sets com- come together. Um, Liesel's set of skills are so different from my set of skills, but also we have mutual understanding and the vision. So I think that works beautifully because, you know, the way we bring things to the table and the way we put it together and construct it, and while having that same vision, is just, it's been, I think, in my view, it's worked beautifully. And we kind of call each other out on things that, needs to work differently, or on things that, I don't see it the same way, or she doesn't see it the same way. And it's just, we talk through it because we understand the vision, the mission, and we understand how each side of the business works and what is it that we're trying to achieve together. And I think that's it is quite rare to find someone who really resonate with you. And also, this is whether, we can call it whatever we want, but it's a marriage, because being in a business with someone, it's at some, like, sometimes it's even more crucial than your actual personal partner in real life, because it has such a huge impact on what you do. So I just consider myself really lucky to have found someone like Liesel to be doing this work with, that we're both so passionate about. So
Ditto, ditto, ditto. I struck the jackpot. It's wonderful.
I love the love you have for both of you, like each of you. That's so admirable.
And I also think it's worth saying that it took us a while to it took us it's been 1 year now that we've been officially one organization, and we were just very kind and gentle with each other with how what does that look like, a lot of logistics to work through, and we just took it slow. We took it very,
And
very
working from two continents.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And North America's work culture is very different to South Africa's work culture. We take lots of breaks, and North America does not. So I'm always saying to Pega, take a break, and she's been so patient with me. And it's honestly, it's been really, really good. And I think it's really our dream. Well, I'm speaking on behalf of Pega too, but I know she feels the same, is that we just wish more people would do that. Actually, we're so excited because Kaylin and Jamie Smith, they also
Yeah, they
merged.
did it. Yes, yes.
Yes. And we really fly the flag because, unfortunately, well, as you know, this work that we do, it isn't always the best paid job. Well, it isn't even a paid job most of the time. And you run purely on the fumes of passion. And then sometimes when you're exhausted because of, home care duties or parental duties, any of that, you run out of steam. But then you have your partner that can take over, and it's just been so wonderful.
No, it's been beautiful. It's been beautiful, truly.
Pega, you come from finance, so I am guessing the numbers that you put out every once in a while on the Instagram really comes from you.
It's a joint work. I would say it's a joint work that we do. But I do have a finance background, and it was such a shift to come to the art world, and it was something that I think um, at the beginning, I still sometimes have hard time explaining what I do to people who are not fully entrenched in the art world. But
Yeah.
it was a big shift to come to.
What brought you here?
It was pure curiosity. I've always been an art lover and interested in art, and always that was never a separate part of me. It was always a part of me. But I think to to pursue it as a career was something that was not on my bingo card, and so it was such a shift when I thought about it, because it was, again, going back to the whole question around what let me into kind of speaking and being passionate about gender gap. It's also very cultural for me as well, coming from Iran, and having to being raised in Iran and having to wear a compulsory hijab, and something that we're uh, and the difference between how boys are treated and how girls are treated, inherently that's something that kind of builds up in you. And then when as you grow up, as you read, as you're interested in different things, in your capabilities, really, you realize that, you know, well, that's not fair, and someone needs to do something about it. And so I think when it came into the learning about women artists and the gender gap that exists in the art world, it was such a trigger for me, because it was very much, I was like, what, how is this possible? This is not. And I thought, I'm doing it wrong, I'm reading it wrong, I'm reading old research papers, and so I thought, okay, I need to spend some time really figuring this out. And what was really interesting to me was that no one at the time in 2018, when Liezel and I started, no one was actively talking about this. It was, there's a National Museum of Women in Art that they've been always, there's Guerrilla Girls that they have always, but the momentum of it was not as
It didn't
much
come
as
to
it
so
is
much of
today.
spotlight.
That's right. And so that kind of fueled me at that point to spent some time figuring out how and what, and then eventually I felt so passionate about it that I thought, okay, well, I need to try this and see if, if I can make a dent.
And Pega's financial skills are God sent to our social enterprise, because let me tell you, if it's up to me, it will be a disaster. And she is just like, whenever we do a new project, she's like always WhatsApping me, I'll do the financial forecast and this. And I'm like, I'm very scared
My
to
brain
look at
does
it.
not work like that. Like, yeah, absolutely. Like it's like a magic skill when I look at someone. So I have friends who my partner is also runs a business, and I'm like, okay, help me figure this out. Like the first time I saw MIS, I was like, I would always look at him. We work together also. I'm like, I don't know how you do this. And there was one day when I was like, I need to have an MIS for Arts to Hearts, and I was like, my God, am I really doing this? And it spooked me out. I'm like, I don't think I'm eligible for this job. But you just have to make do.
I think what makes it it's something for me that's always like we have to kind of track it because we are a social enterprise with a social mission. We are not a non-for-profit, right? And I think when you're a social enterprise with a social mission, it's very much, how we make what we make and the impact. It's kind of intertwined because if we run out of uh, uh, funds and money, then we can't do what we're doing, right? So it's very important that we keep an eye on that and make sure. It's also we're social entrepreneurs, right? So social entrepreneurship does not necessarily mean no, like having no revenue. It means you have to have a sustainable revenue.
And this is, um, could be controversial, but I really don't care. Something I feel like there's so much, and I think I also came at that point. Today, I think I'm an artist, but I also run a business, which is specifically for the same audience that I come from. And I think as I keep growing, I know that with my own experiences, I think you start building what you experience and you start solving for those experiences. And I think that's how it started for me as well. um, but also in the sense of, I remember when I started in the beginning, I would be so I think, and I was I s- before I started being an artist, like my career as an artist, I had been working as a designer. I had already started a business, so I always knew, like, you have to invest in your career, in your business, to move forward and all of that. But when I came into the arts, I was like this new kid who was just trying to fit in. Okay, this is how this industry works. And suddenly I realized that my perception changed. Everything I knew, and I was working in the tech, so I was very well equipped and I knew all of it. But my perception really changed suddenly because I felt like, okay, so being an artist means that it's not a business, it's nothing. I have to sit at one place, I'll wait for the opportunities, people will choose me and all of that. Did that for a while, understood that this is never going to get me anywhere. Everything changed for me personally was when I understood, like, this is my career. As if I was a designer, if I was running a business, it's just as is. It's just a different profession. Since
Medium.
then I have Yeah, since then, like a designer, if I would pay someone to help me do my portfolio or learn a workshop or do a PR or get published or like all of these things, and then I understood, okay, so yeah, it makes sense. Now I understand that the submission, there's a very common issue we all know about. A lot of people come with, oh, we need, a lot of artists come with, we need free opportunities. And a lot of times I say this in return, that we are more than, I think we're all here, that if we can provide that, but who's supporting those businesses to create those opportunities? Like every single penny. Like, I know yesterday I felt like there was this huge mountain, and I had like this conversation with our team. I was like, I have to make sure that we keep the system running. I have to make sure that all the salaries are paid, all our expenses are paid. I can't commit people for today and disappear next few months because I don't have the money to pay or rely. So then today I understand, okay, yeah, if we don't have this revenue ecosystem. If we as a business do not understand this, we will never be able to provide this, and that means end of the story. There are no opportunities, there's no women artists, there's no growth, there's nothing. So I think a lot of times people do not see this whole chain, like how
especially
it's
within
still.
the art world, is such a taboo. It is such
Yeah,
a taboo because there's this notion of struggling artist, and that has
yeah,
created this sort of, and I understand it, this is not coming from a place, working with so many artists in the past few years. There are struggles. No career is without a struggle,
without a
but it's not
absolutely.
exclusive to the art world or to an
Yes.
artist. And I think that's
Yeah,
something that um, the art world really needs to understand, and social
yeah,
enterprises like us, um, there needs to be a clarity that it's not about taking money away and for our own good. It's
yeah,
about
yeah,
making a change and having a sustainable enterprise that can continue doing the work. And I think that's
yeah.
something that sometimes Lisa and I struggle with as well, to really
I can totally relate.
explain it.
Totally. Today, even I had, sorry, yeah, today I had, we were doing a newsletter and I was at the end of like, I had to write, why are there fees? And I became really irritated that I had to explain it. But of course, we want to be kind to our wonderful audience. But I think what irritates me is that the problem isn't just created from within our industry. I think the rest of the world also view the art as frivolous and not a necessity. You would never ever ask somebody for a lawyer to work for you for free, ever. But somehow, if art is related to it, we expect that to come. I don't know. Are we supposed to pay artists, or are they supposed to pay rent, school fees for their children, food, drink, with how do they always say, with exposure? No, we need money. Everybody needs money. That is the currency of our world. That's how we move forward. And I think that's, to me, it's twofold. It's for our community within this industry to understand, but it's also for people outside. And it is a hard. We need to start saying no when we are not paid fairly for the services we offer. We all, as a collective, need to start saying no, because the problem is if only some of us says no, then they'll just go to others that will do it for free. You can see it's a topic Pegah and I are very passionate about. And it's like you
I
say
similarly,
earlier,
similarly.
yeah, how do you keep the lights on? How do we keep
On.
the lights on of this social enterprise if there's not revenue coming in? It just doesn't make
And
sense. Like,
and you know what? In the bigger scheme of things, I have also like realized, like when we were just starting out, the capacity of any kind of project that we could do, I could do, was really small. But it never held me back. I was like, okay, a drop in the ocean. I'll start with something, absolutely something, at anything at all. And we started small. We started the podcast. This podcast is 100% free. And it takes a lot of money for me to just produce one episode. We pay hell lot of subscription fees, editing fees, so much. We have someone who manages the podcast. So, but this is one way for us to keep information accessible, and also for me to being able to like share my own thoughts. And I know it comes as a cost, but I know, okay, this is something we can keep going with. Um, I think another problem of the ecosystem from here starts with also, I think, um, I saw this reel yesterday and I really liked it, which was there was this writer and she said, like, she was just published, she did a screenplay or something for Marvel. And she said, a lot of people will tell you, oh, I was just writing the best thing and this opportunity just landed for me. She said, no, absolutely not. She said, I thought I acted, I am an artist, but I am also an entrepreneur. What I did was, she really chalked it out. She was like, I reached out, I led this, I got on the fiber, found someone, told him that, this is the company, this is the name of the person I'm looking for. Find me an email address. I paid her $35. Whatever she did, she got me the email, a couple of emails. I wrote like a message and I told them that I'm interested. And that's it. No, but she didn't hear from them at all. She said it took 1 year, and she completely forgot. And she said, it didn't feel like, oh, I was being scammed, or I failed my money, or like all of those things, like an investment any business does into your future. And she's like, 1 year later, suddenly my inbox has this message from Marvel. We love your writing. Would you be interested in doing a screenplay with us? And that's it. And I feel like a lot of times, this is one approach that we miss as artists, our community, where we, unless we do not understand the value within us, I think that really holds us back. Like, if we start thinking about ourselves like we're thinking about ourselves as entrepreneurs, that we invest into each other, we invest in ourselves, we ask people to invest in us, that, and the moment I think artists also understand that the value that you're creating, and if they work like basic P&Ls with basic business, where they know there's a loss, there's a profit, there's an investment, there's a marketing, there's this and that. And I think in today's time, it's also become more harder because there's so much that an artist already does. So they're already a business today. Don't you think that?
100%. This is something we've always talked about. Artists are entrepreneurs in their own right. They have to produce their product, they have to market it, they have to sell it, they have to find revenue streams. Whether you are a fine art artist and you choose a traditional path, or you choose a path which is more in terms of selling products, selling merchandise, carving your own path, in both cases you are still an entrepreneur in your own right, because you are producing a product within your knowledge, within your skill set, within your creative mind. And then you have to find ways to actually make money off of that product that you've produced. And I know this sounds so like different from how you would describe an art world, but in context, if you think about it, that the same theme applies, right? So I think it's for us being in this business and wanting to support entrepreneurs, like, as I said, we're social entrepreneurs. We don't go to any organization saying give us money for free. No, we have to show what we've done. We have to show our track record, and then say, hey, then go pitch, then go make this, then go talk about that. And so I feel like to completely exclude the art world from the rest of the world, it's just doesn't make sense. And we really need to, but this doesn't go without saying, the I think it really aligns with what Lisa was saying earlier, is that how the rest of the world, when it comes to the art world, they assume it needs to be for free. If you ask an artist to do a painting, and commission a painting, and you expect them to do it for, they give you a price, they tell you how much that work is, and if you go back and bargain with them, to me it's like, no, you don't do that. You can't do that with an artist. Like, this is their craft, this is their work. So I think it's this notion that needs to be changed, and that's, yeah, hopefully at some point we'll change that.
And the torment the artist had to get through to actually put a price. We know here on the call, like, how artists struggle to get to that number. So it's such a hard journey. And
It's
I
such,
also think,
oh, absolutely. But you know what? Isn't that hard for any time we're doing something new? Any, I think specifically as creatives, like, and Liesel, it is like you and me. I'm sure people like Pega, who come from a finance, I think you're more articulative, you know numbers, there's a measuring. But I think a lot of creative people, like, who have no know-how of, like, the tactical side of these things, it's so personal. I think I've been through that journey where everything feels so personal. And I also keep saying this, like, as an artist, and I see this difference within myself as an artist, as a creative entrepreneur. Anything that I do as an artist, I know that I have to disassociate. I have to very intentionally disassociate myself with anything I'm doing. Here, I'm already disassociated. This is an org. I'm an independent person. My business is different. It's not me completely. With this, I feel I'm vulnerable. Like, when artists feel intimidated, the price, because like they feel attacked, they feel vulnerable, they feel seen. And I think that intimates a lot of us.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, too, the story told with the writer. I think we also people forget, including myself, that things take time. Things just takes time. Everything good takes time, and I with the Instagram culture and TikTok and all of that, it creates this illusion that it's snap, 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 boom, there you go. And what people then don't understand is behind the scenes, and I think it can easily, it can be very daunting because, and I also fall into that trap. I look at other people and I'm like, oh my god, they have it all figured out, and here we are, like, pedaling away. But I think just that trying to ground and understand that this kind of work takes time, whether you create a beautiful art piece or you do activism work or anything really meaningful, does take time. And sometimes the world is also not ready to hear things. Like for me and Pegah, a lot of the work we do, it just comes a little bit too early, and then we are like, right, ready, like Nina says, guns blazing. I mean, there's crickets, and we're like, what do you mean? This is awesome. And then a year later, people are like, oh, this is awesome. You should have done it a while back. We're like, we did, but nobody wanted it.
No, that is true. That is true. But tell me something now. What's happening? Like we know about this merger. We know that you've come together. Um, what's happening? I know because we also submitted, and I still submit. Like this is something again I'm focusing on because I'm sure, and I'm going to ask you about this museum collaboration that you're doing. But just in a side note, like even not as an artist, but also as business people, as running a creative business, there are so many pitches that we put out, so many unusual ideas that we come up with, and then we start with nothing and we keep at it and keep at it and keep at it, invested in it also. Like businesses also are like that. Like you invest in yourself way before it really gives you a return, or it feels like, because you have to, like anything that you want to build, you have to, like you have to water a plant, nurture it, speak good to it, and let it bloom slowly and steadily. And I think that goes for artists, creative entrepreneurs, all of us. But first, tell me about this museum collaboration that you're doing. I'm very excited because we had some great books ideas, and when I saw it, and I was like, let's do it. And Rabia and I quickly, put together our thoughts, and we filled the form, and we are very excited. But how did you make it happen? Like, what does behind the scenes? How does it look like for you? What do you guys do? What are you working on? What do you think about it?
So to give you context, we have 4 different streams, right? And so one of the things that Liezel and I did was to really sit down and understand what the future of each of these streams are in terms of impact and in terms of in a context of a business. And so the way we've carved out the future of for each of these streams was something that was a work in progress. There was a lot of visions and missions in there, and so what we had to take a step back and look at what is our strength that we currently have. Where are we as an organization? And we have 2 really clear strengths here. One is the large community of women and non-binary artists that we have, as well as the network of professional artists that we have created. Sorry, network of professional, like art professionals that we have created in the past few years. So we really thought about how do we bring these 2 together to create impact, right? So think of us as who's bringing their network that we've built and connecting artists to it, so then women and non-binary artists can thrive through these connections. So we took that and applied it every single stream that we have. And the museum shops is that another iteration of that. Liezel and I started Repaint History and Argo Rising through one of the ways that we were creating awareness was merchandise. And really fun and cool and ahead of time, really, because no one was really doing that at the time. And Liesel had a lot of success with her merchandise when she started, and Repaint History did too. But to be fair, I don't think to the extent that Argo Rising did. And so what we did was that we had a look to see, okay, through this merchandise, we've created a network of museum shops that they've purchased our products, they've brought the products into their museum, we've kept in touch with them, we've done different projects with them. And it's not easy, right? Because they're major museums. And so then we looked at our community and we thought, wait a minute, our community have products, they have a lot of unique products that they create through the art that they have. So why don't we bring our network, bring our community together, and let the community thrive in terms of economical empowerment, in terms of carving a space for themselves in museum shops. The idea of Argo Rising Shelf was Liesel's idea from the beginning. I think that's what she was really going towards, having that space. And I think this is really the next, well, not the next, it's the path to having a shelf in museum shops dedicated to women and non-binary artists. Liesel, if you want to add to that.
Pegah, to add to Pegah's, I also want to give a big shout out to Nina. Nina was with me in KL when we thought about this shelf idea. We actually had a shelf in our little office. It was just a guest bedroom in my apartment. And we looked at my shelf and we were like, a shelf. There should be a shelf in every museum store dedicated to women and non-binary artists. And then we're like, no, half of every museum shop should have at least products by women and non-binary artists. Are you not sick and tired of seeing Monet scarves and Picasso mouse pads? Like, come on. All right. And so we thought about the idea, and I actually found my notebook a couple of nights ago that I jotted it down. And then I found we run everything on Basecamp through the Repaint History group. And me and Pegah wrote, and Nina wrote to each other. Pegah, I didn't tell you this yet, but I saw it yesterday. On the 4th of October last year, we said, let's do this. And so again, what we said earlier, it was the 4th of October last year. And we such a small team, it's just the three of us, and it takes time. And so we put the call out there, and it was wonderful and very overwhelming, because we thought we would have, not that we don't believe in our audience, we have an incredible audience, but we didn't know there will be so many ready-made products. And we had an overwhelming response. So over the last couple of weeks, we taught ourselves how to create a catalog, price list. Oh my goodness. So if you want to know what it looks behind the scenes, it has been chaos, because we need to learn now how to deal with like product management and quantities and pricing, and it's just been a lot. It's a very different story, selling a few T-shirts in a few sizes and a few colors, to now having hundreds, 400-500 products.
We received 500. We received 500 something product listing from artists, and to comb through all of that, and then to bring them, and we had 11 categories alone that we sent out to museums. And so it's been a learning experience. It's been a great learning experience, I would say, because we thought, as Liesel was saying, we thought we'll get some products. We didn't realize we'll get 500. I think it's even more than that. I'm saying 500, but I feel like it's more than that, because I'm going through the number in my head, and I think it's actually higher than that. And so to comb through that, and Liesel did the whole curation of the products, and it's no easy task to comb through them, to go through them, to shortlist them. Um, we had 4 rounds of products, which Liezel was going through and shortlisting, and then she would share it with Nina and I, and then we would go in and provide our feedback. But to put all of that and create a concept so that museum shops understand that it's not just we're not just giving you products. This is so much more than this product. It's a concept. It's really empowering women and non-binary artists through this is now financially empowering them, right? So this is a complete different territory in terms of how we've always provided support. Normally, we've really focused on funding and services, but this is product support that we're providing, which is, it's financial.
Also, and it's extremely innovative, and I think when I saw that, I felt like I was very like I'm this person. When I see someone, I'm like, wow, that's like when I love the work that you guys do. I've always loved what Kat does. There's so many people, like, we know, and I'm like, I'm always looking out for what everyone's doing, and I'm like, wow, they did this. I'm like, there's this feeling, wow, they really, like, I could feel that you've made a dent here, because museum in the world of in the world of art is a very prestigious, aristocratic, um very sacred
Gatekeeping.
word, let's say. Yes, gatekeeping, sacred, and all of that. And I think with everything, I think, and I was speaking to Kat the other a few weeks, months back, and we were talking about like everything that we're all doing. And I told her, like, I really feel that all of us, the work that we are doing is really changing the needle. I really, and I truly, truly, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years, maybe 20 years down the line, we would really understand the impact that the work, we are all doing, because we really are making a lot of change. Like, from a time where people couldn't imagine to put their work, any kind of work, even if it was product, in a museum, you made that happen, at least for people to know that there is a possibility that they could make something, and there is a way for you to reach to that point. And it's never done before. It's nobody, and I think we're all trying to do that. Like, even when we have access to things, like, we did this, we received such a good response to the 100 artworks book that we just did last month with Milan Art. And it just happened out of the blue, because I love making books. I truly, truly love. And I was like, we do the magazine. I love that. But, I want people to experience artists in different aspects. Like, these are 100 artworks. These are 100 artists you should look at. These are creative entrepreneurs you should look at. Or like just creating more and more and more and more different experiences access. We started the Emerging Artist Award this week actually, and we brought on Ashley Longshore for mentoring. We brought on galleries for mentoring. And I was like, if I had this opportunity in the beginning of my career, today I have this network that we're always reaching out, and we reached out to, everyone. And we're like, would you be able to pitch in? Would you be able to, contribute some way into this, so that we use our network to give maximum value to people, who are there. And that way, I think we're all making such a big difference. Like, even little contribution makes such a big difference. For, like, if I had that access in the beginning of my career, I really would have skipped a few years of struggle. But we make it happen for other people.
And I want to say congratulations to your beautiful book project and your new Emerging Art Awards. Like, it's amazing, and I think it's really, you really made me think now when you spoke about like access points and making a difference slowly but surely. And I think, when you're in the midst of all the work, you don't realize you're in the eye of the storm, right? But I think you really hit the nail on the head. Is we create all these different entry points now between all of us for artists to engage and to slip through the gates, through these big, past the gatekeepers. And I think, yes, you're absolutely right. Bit by bit, little by little, we can just keep going. And it's so nice, actually. I always love speaking to other people in our field because we all, I've said it previously, I think in another podcast, but it always feels like if you do this activism work, you feel like you're a mole underground and you're just digging, and every now and again, yes, and then every now and again you bump into another mole and you're like, oh, hi. And then you get a bit of energy and we go on our own way again. But yes, together we can change the narrative. I'm so true what you're saying.
But don't forget to track the impact. I think that's really important. Don't forget to track the impact that you're making, because it's really easy to see, to think that, well, it's not easy, but it's, you'll see the changes coming and you're like, oh my God, change is coming. But you forget that you have created that change, that you have made that change. And it's really important because when you're in a socially mission driven work, you need to know the impact you're creating because it's your passion, because it's, as Liezel said, it's the fumes like of your passion. And so to not run out of fume, you need to know the impact, that not just for yourself, but to also showcase the impact that you're making, because that's very, very important. And I think collectively we have to do a better job at all of us tracking the impact that we're making, because I would also tell you that all of that impact can actually turn into a policy, can turn into a law. It can turn into, because of how we're driving the work, the change that we're making, and it will get to somewhere that can actually collectively, we can put a policy forward, we can put a motion forward. And I think that's really important. So don't forget to track your, I mean, we tend to at times. So
You see, thank goodness for this financial and this numbers mind. You see, thank goodness for Pegah.
Yeah. Yes. We need to hear more from you.
Yes.
But that truly is, I think it's so wonderful. And I also sometimes think about these two things. Like sometimes, like for me, I never thought, I'm sitting in India. I just shared that it's almost 3 years running Arts to Hearts, and I've not been in the US. I never thought that I would be able to have access and friends and partnerships and collaborations in a business, not just within my own country, but worldwide. Today, I work with people from all parts of the world. And for someone, a little girl from India in a very small town, I was born and brought up here. It is it's not that common, it's not that easy, and it wasn't that obvious. And then I realized, okay, for me today, from where I'm standing, this may not seem big, or this may not be such a big thing. But if the early younger version of me would have found this opportunity today, she would have jumped out of her seat. I literally said to my group, like my team, when we were putting the emerging artist award together, I'm like, literally, if I feel like if the younger version of me would have seen this award, I would literally jump out of my seat, because it was giving me an access to a network, all parts of the world, giving me a recognition, cash and support and all of this, that literally I couldn't. I mean, sitting in India, in a small part of the world, I literally wouldn't have been able to get an access to. And that means a lot. I think it truly means a lot for all of us. And like, for someone like me, you've created these opportunities that, I feel like, oh wow, I don't think I can be there, and we can all be like, you can't be here, I can't be in South Africa, or all of those things. How we're also globally connecting each other and giving oh, you want a seat at this table, come join me. And you're saying, oh, you want to come here, you come join me. And how magical is that?
because there's always enough space for everybody. There is enough space for everyone to make a change. If you're doing good in the world, there is space for you. If you're making a change, there's space for you. There's never, and it's never too late. So don't like, I don't, and no one should shy away from thinking that a mission driven cause is crowded, or that, what am I going to do? Um, I heard this in a context of social media towards artists, that someone said, if to artists, like if your post gets 100 likes or something, don't think, and you think, oh, that's really little, put it in a context of a physical component. If you had a store and 100 people just showed up to your store, you would feel so overwhelmed. And I think this is also, it applies to the work that we're doing. If we're supporting 20 artists, 30 artists, 40 artists, it's already 40 impacts in 40 different lives. So it's not small. It's no small change. It's a huge change you're making in the lives of 40 different families from across the world. So I don't think we should ever underestimate the work we're doing. You know, we're not selling pens on and no disrespect to someone who's selling pens on Amazon, but I'm just saying, like, this is a mission driven work, so the impact is different.
What do you think has been the hardest thing building, you know, this business, providing this value, um, the hardest part of it?
The time zones. The time zones. I say that, but it's been a blessing and a curse, really, because of the time zones. So Pega, Nina is in front in KL, then I'm 6 hours behind her. So when Nina goes, it's the end of her day, I come online, and then Pega 6 hours behind me. So actually we pass the baton on. So really we are going 24/7. So when Pega wakes gets to bed, Nina wakes up. So there's always two of us, but it's that is it's been a challenge. And then yeah, from my side, certainly also, cash flow, and this notion that we discussed at length earlier, this idea that people have, that social enterprise sort of survives on fairy dust and sprinkles, really infuriates me, because it just, I think for me that's certainly been the two biggest challenges. And what's also been sad for me and disheartening is to see that some of people that have been doing this work have had to stop doing this work to take full-time jobs. A lot of people, right? We were so many of us doing this work, and we are in Pega and I in a very grateful and privileged position where our partners are the primary providers. So it's given us the opportunity that we could, when we don't take salary more often than not, so I have to say that, because people don't always understand that. Or they do
I
understand it,
haven't
they
been
know.
paid once in 3 years. I have totally another job that pays. I'm saying I haven't been paid once in 3 years. I have another job that pays everything because I know it takes time.
That we all have to work on to change, because it's simply not sustainable, right? And we exactly, as a collective, so I feel really passionate that and we can't. Pega and I often have this conversation, because we don't want to have the financial burden on one person in the house that is completely playing into the patriarchy. Like, that is exactly not the solution. So, and it is, often my husband, he is so supportive of the work we do, that I do, but he often says to me, if you go and work for a not for profit or a charity, then I understand that there's no money, because you work for not for profit, and most time not for profits will pay your salary, but you work 12 hours a day sometimes, and then he's just like, please explain this to me. You're fighting for women's rights, and but where's the financial compensation? So I must say those two things have been my biggest challenge.
Yeah, but we also understand, like, like we spoke about in the beginning, that at least that's what I believe in. For me, I feel like you said, as a business, I have understood that, how small we were in whatever way we revenue, numbers, submissions, all of this distribution. We weren't able to offer as much value to our artists. But the bigger we are getting, the value of what we can give back is increasing, and that has become a very big north star for me. I'm like, how do I, like, so we're in conversation with one of the biggest art fairs in India, and I'm like, I really need to get through this, because if we bring them, um how they imagine the amount of giving back we can do to the community that we are already having. Like, it's like how do we grow so that we can help other artists grow, our community grow, other partners grow. So that really helps us. And also I'm knowing that in the beginning, like we spoke, it takes someone, we have to believe that we have to pour in the work, and then worry, okay, how we are bringing that. As long as people like Pegah is around us, I'm sure she'll make sure that we are sustainable enough.
I think you guys are giving me way too much credit. This is not. This is not. No. Yeah, no, I agree with both of you, and I think that one of the pain points, I agree with Liesel. I echo that as well. The amount of hours that we put into the work is not necessarily translated to the financial gains. Um, and then transferring that into our family's well-being. So we are lucky that we have very supportive partners. But going back to the whole patriarchy conversation, we want to get to a place where it's equally, if not more, we are equally, if not more, providing um, for our financial well-being and our own financial literacy as well, right? I think it's very, very important. And then it goes back to the whole notion of, well, how do we do it in a way that doesn't come across that we're taking too much or we're doing this, but it's equal part providing that impact. And I think, as you said, Charuka, the value that we're bringing also gets bigger with the growth that we have. So it feels like a two-part thing, that as we grow, the value grows, and also the financial well-being of the social enterprise grows as well. And so I think we'll get there. I have no doubt that we'll get there, and we'll do it. It's just when you're in it, it's really hard to see it. It's really hard to feel the impact. It's really hard to feel the change. And when you're in a pinch, you think, what the hell am I doing? Like, why am I doing this?
I think another thing to this ecosystem is also sometimes we overlook is we're also generating a lot of employment that wasn't before. And as if, let's say, imagine all of us getting bigger, and we're making more impact and bringing communities bigger and bigger. Like, more magazines running means more employment for writers, more employment for designers, more employment for artists, illustrators, editors, copywriters, exhibition designers, curators. And it's like how we're all coming, like, impact. Like, if I see now in the grander scheme of things, I feel like, yeah, if we keep doing this work, we all keep doing this work, little drops in the ocean, but once it's going to come together, it's like it's going to be another world for sure.
That's true. And we also we have to prove that a social enterprise can be sustainable. There's just not enough models out there at the moment, especially in this space. Like, we've chosen two of the hardest things, the art industry and gender equality, and put them together. But Pega and I don't doubt for a minute that this can be a sustainable social enterprise. Like, we really believe it, and we will not give up until it is, really.
Likewise. I'm so glad you, and you're already doing amazing work. I think that we all would agree. Everyone who's listening to this podcast right now, I'm sure they've heard about what you do. They've seen your work, and I think um, we all. I think this conversation is not easy. I think a lot of people would really hold themselves back, but I think we've done a great job putting our sides. But also, like, I think it's easier for all of us once when we have these difficult conversations where we come together and think, okay, how do we all come together to make this better for all of us, for all of us? How do we get stronger from here? How do we um somebody has to make that sacrifice. We're taking, I think, like I feel so good when so many other artists, like, they start something, because I truly know now that I have to put back so many of my creative dreams, just because I equally feel so much about this. Because I feel like, okay, I'm going to toggle my own creative dreams between this, and it's like, we're all, how do I say this, it's it's a conversation, and it's an encouragement we all need again and again.
So true. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
I cannot believe it's already been an hour, and we've been, it feels like the time has flown by. But I'm not going to hold you back. But I will bring you back, because we'll keep having these conversations. So thank you so much, both of you, for your time.
Thank you very, very much.
This was really lovely.
What are you working? Is there something exciting that you want to share with us, that our
Something
listeners
exciting
could?
is coming. Stay tuned. Yes. It's very much in the vein of bringing more artists into museum shops, and so stay tuned on that. We have big, big, big plans for that, and we want our impact to really grow in that space, because we really truly believe in empowering women and non-binary artists financially as well as within their careers. So this is something that we're super excited, and we're really thinking of scaling the work that we are doing in terms of creating the Argo Rising shelf into museums.
Also, for we have our our database and platform. So
Yeah,
ourweeklyrise.com, we launched that a year ago, and it's growing tremendously, and it's a wonderful resource where you can find everything from call for art, exhibitions, articles, um, artist interviews, anything. So that's really something that we keep growing, keep growing. Ina's really taken ownership of that, and she's doing an amazing job. So that's ourweeklyrise.com. And then lastly,
okay.
our database and directory for women artists, where are the womenartists.com. At the moment, we are working on the tech capabilities of it. For example, soon paid members would be able to change and update their profiles, because we realize that, of course, artists are ever evolving, their work is changing. And at the moment, we manually update these things for artists, but soon that would be a member
I
login
saw that.
profile. And our dream
Yes.
really with Watwa, we call Where Are the Women Artists Watwa, is that it really answers this question. If you say where are the women artists, here are the women artists, and it
Women
will
artists.
always be this open database, a legacy project that we hope that in years to come we can have 100, 2, 3, 4, 500,000 artists from across the world
I am
on this
sure that would
database.
happen.
Um, so that's our babies, and yeah, we are very excited and passionate about all the babies.
Oh my God. I am so proud of you, and I'm so excited for everything that you do. And for sure, I'll be here cheering for both of you and everything you do. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll hope I see you both again. Hopefully in real person in India or in the US or in Canada and South Africa.
Yes, come and visit, Charuka. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much again.